Hey, welcome back to Reddit Cheating Wife, the best channel for cheating stories. Like and subscribe to the channel for cheating stories like this.
Going to tell my wife I want a divorce today. Working up the nerve. We married roughly 3 years ago. I discovered she was cheating on me a few months after our wedding. I was upset and furious, but after talking about it, I thought we could attempt to work things out and I could improve on my communication skills and become the sort of spouse she wouldn't cheat on again. I departed for active duty orders approximately a year later for around 7 months. I arrived to find her sleeping with a guy who was texting "I love you" to another man on her phone. I knew I wanted to leave that night when I left. I was still in love, so I naively returned to try again. I discovered that she had reconnected with the same guy through a music app. They communicate by modifying the titles of playlists that include no music in order to indicate what they want to say. It's been difficult for me to maintain a normal demeanor while seeing the playlist names change. Last night was the hardest, but at least I know how much she cheated. She's claimed she loves him and wants to be all over him, and she's mentioned sleeping with him. I was a fool to think that was just emotional manipulation. I think all I wanted to believe was that things could still work out. She is the only person I've ever spent time with. I've been doing this for over 11 years, since I was 18. The only individual who has ever shown an interest in me. As a result, my self-esteem is at an all-time low. I know I'm not very good at communicating, but I've been working on it and will continue to do so. I believe I still treated her well since I kept our house clean and in order. I had beautiful vacations and always stopped what I was doing to meet her when she got home from work since I work from home. I'm feeling lost and I guess I'm just putting this out to get it out since I don't have anybody to speak to. I'm going to tell her when she gets home today that I need a divorce and that I refuse to spend another day of my life with someone who loves another guy. I don't believe I did anything to earn this. She has returned home from work. When I informed her we needed to separate, she immediately began ranting at me about how all I care about is cinema. I want to produce short films and going on hiking vacations. We traveled a lot, but she never wanted to go on the hikes that I go on. She is quite skilled at making me feel horrible. I told her that if she hadn't cheated on me in the first place, I may have been able to work harder to make things right. She packed some things and I left after telling her she didn't have the right to do this to me, and she responded she was entitled to love more than one person. I waited until she was gone before leaving, and now I'm home alone, trying to feel better and figure out what to do next. It's been great to watch. Story 2. I was cheated on for 2 years. Unfortunately, I was with a manipulative narcissist for 4 years. We began dating when I was 16 years old. He was 15, 5 months younger than me. He showed me a lot of warning signals in the first 2 years. Temper difficulties, gaslighting, withholding his affection when he was upset at me, but would verbally attack me if I did the same. But I disregarded them because I felt I loved him, and when he was kind, rarely, I clung to it. After my first year of high school, I transferred to an online high school for my sophomore and junior years. I was distrustful of him and insecure, so I returned for the express goal of keeping an eye on his senior year. It seems ridiculous, but I was correct in the end. He was a track and cross-country runner, and he was my ride to and from school for a while, so I decided to become the track/XC manager to keep myself busy, since he wouldn't take me home before practices, which meant I had to sit around or wait in the car for 1-1.5 hours after school until he was done. During this time, I noted that he was unusually close to the females on the team and that during meets, he would cheer for the girls more than the boys. When I confronted him about it, he became enraged, claiming that he was simply being a good team member and that I was being insecure. Fast forward to one specific meet, I'm the manager, which means I'm in control of the team's luggage and things while they're running. One of the females approaches my boyfriend and requests that he hold her phone for her. He takes it and then hands it on to me, along with his phone, so he can go warm up. I place her phone in the cart with the rest of the team's things, but I opt to look at his phone first. He'd been on Snapchat with a girl from his photography class about whom he told me not to worry, but all of their messages had vanished, and the only one that remained was one in which he asked her, "Is it bad to desire something from someone else?" I challenged him about it, and he told me it was simply something he said to her since she was experiencing problems with her partner and wanted advice. It was illogical, but I disregarded it since I didn't want him to leave me. Not long after that, I began to notice him and the lady from his photography class were communicating a lot, and one of her efforts was a really photogenic image of him. That irritated me. Then, during advocacy, he went to the toilet and left his phone, so I double-checked it. They had been messing about in class previously, and she had taken his phone and hidden it in her bra. He reached in and grabbed it, catching a whiff of it in the process. They'd been messaging about it, and he'd informed her that he wanted to do more with her, implying. When he returned, I threw his phone on the floor and told him, and dashed to the restroom as quickly as I could, smashing my phone against a closed door and breaking it in the process. A teacher escorted me from the restroom and escorted both of us to the panic room in the counselor's office where we could chat. I went mad on him, hurling the promise ring I was wearing at him and screaming, "Does this mean nothing to you?" "And what did I do to deserve this?" he asks. He apologized and calmed me down, told me he loved me, and promised it would never happen again. Finally, he made me pledge not to tell anybody, and I didn't do it. For almost 2 years, I began observing him and a lady from our advocacy class conversing a lot around the beginning of our 3rd year, and since I was still uncomfortable and untrusting of him, I would check SnapMap and see them active at the same time. He informed me he was going to bed at 1 a.m. one night, but they were both up for the following hour. I'd even posted, "I'm so done with the lies and BS." And she messaged me to see if I was all right and to let me know she was there for me. They were, as it turned out. They were naked switching as she consoled me. When I attempted to end our relationship, he threatened me with suicide. He was emailing me every day about how he didn't want to live, and during advocacy, he would sit in the back of class and grind his knuckles against the wall until I glanced at him. So I returned him. During this time, I went off my birth control and told him I didn't want to have any till I was back on it. His reaction was to me. I became pregnant in February 2020 and had to get a medical abortion on my own. He wasn't there for me, and even asked if I could bring his running shorts to him at his college when I was at home bleeding badly, vomiting and unable to get out of bed. I felt stuck at this moment. I felt disgusting and exploited, and I was afraid that no one would ever love me again since I had been and had an abortion. I was feeling unlovable. I wanted to kill myself because I was so miserable. An old sweetheart of mine came to town in late May/early June of 2020, and to be told, I never forgot about him. At this time, my boyfriend had cut me off from my friends and family. I had no one except him and wasn't permitted to get out with friends or family. When my buddy, let's call him Jay, returned to town, he pushed me to go out and enjoy myself this summer. So he and I, along with a few other friends, began coming to the lake on a weekly basis. That enraged my guy to no end. I became closer to Jay, which resulted in my telling him everything. Cheating and abortion are all crimes, and he helped me through it all. He expressed regret for what I had to go through. He assured me I wasn't used or unlovable, and that he loved me and was always there for me. He gave me the confidence to go. I eventually left him. He was threatening suicide again, and he was contacting me every day. They are desperate for my attention. We lived down the street from one another, so he would go by my home once a day, hoping to get a glimpse of me. At this moment, he was following me. During this time, my grandfather was discovered deceased in his house by my family. I was in shambles, and Jay was there for me. My ex heard and asked if he could come over. No, I said. He came there nonetheless, and was irritated to see JJ was there for me every day throughout this period. We knew we liked one another, but we also knew I wasn't ready to rush into a new relationship right away, so we took things slowly and quietly. My ex texted me all day on the day of my grandfather's memorial, telling me that I needed to destroy whatever I had of his. I was demanding that I did. No, I told him. I promised him I'd drop his belongings on his porch the next day. He informed me he was going to break into my home, collect the items, and light them on fire in my driveway. My father threatened to kill him if he was still on our land when we returned home. We all searched around when we arrived home and didn't see him until he texted me and said he was in the backyard. Jay had me remain in his vehicle, and my brother returned and tossed him from the chair he was sitting on. He went home, and it was the last time I saw him in such close quarters. He contacted me, saying he wanted to remain since it was exhilarating. I told him he was insane, and he said it was my fault. It was all my fault. I had him blocked on everything. A week later, he gained access to my Snapchat and began deleting messages between Jay and me, so I reset my password. He hounded me for almost 2 months after that, and would continuously attempt to attract my attention whenever he spotted me driving down the street. It's already been a year and 6 months, and Jay and I are dating, and I'm happy than I've ever been. I realize this was a lengthy and crazy tale, but I wanted to share it because I want people to know that you are worthy of love. You can leave that circumstance. You do not have to remain with your abuser. You haven't earned it. Please remember that you are more than what they tell you, no matter what they say to you or how they make you feel. You are priceless. You are cherished. You are more than just your abuser or abuse. You are deserving.